Welcome back. Today we're unpacking Apple's streaming strategy. What Apple Services chief Eddie Q just signaled about ads on Apple TV+, why Apple's economics are nothing like Netflix's, and the few scenarios that could actually make Apple change course. We'll also look at where Apple already sells ads, how sports fit in, and what this all means for viewers, brands, and the future of streaming. Netflix's U-turn changed the conversation for years. Netflix said it would never sell ads. Then growth slowed, competition intensified, and amid a few choppy quarters, the company reversed course. The ad-supported plan launched at a price point under $8 in the US, and industry reports now suggest that roughly half of new Netflix signups in many markets choose that option. The pitch is simple: pay less, watch a few minutes of ads per hour, and get access to Netflix's library. That success has reshaped the streaming debate and put pressure on rivals to justify staying ad-free. Apple is not Netflix, and that matters. Here's the big unlock. Netflix is a streaming-first company whose revenue depends primarily on subscriptions. Apple is a diversified giant where services, devices, cloud, and payments all contribute meaningfully to the bottom line. That cushion means Apple doesn't need to chase CTV ad dollars to stabilize a single product line. It can optimize for brand, ecosystem, and long-term retention. Apple TV Plus also launched with a different DNA. Fewer, more premium originals. Quality over quantity. Prestige over volume. That positioning makes an uninterrupted ad-free experience feel like a feature, not a missed opportunity. And the bundle matters. When Apple TV Plus is part of Apple One, the incentive is to preserve a premium feel across the ecosystem rather than inject mid-rolls into cinematic series. Eddie Q's stance: not never. But not now. Eddie Q has left the door open a crack but made the near-term perspective clear. In essence, Apple has no current plans to add advertising to Apple TV Plus and would prefer to keep prices aggressive so viewers aren't interrupted. Translation: Apple intends to compete on quality, price, and ecosystem value rather than monetizing scripted TV with ads. Could that change someday? Absolutely. But it is not Plan A. The sports exception proves the rule: live sports are different. Audiences expect breaks, sponsors, and in-game integrations. Apple already sells ads across live sports properties like MLS Season Pass and Friday Night Baseball. This is the zone where ads are organic, culturally accepted, and even additive when done right. It lets Apple participate in premium advertising without compromising the cinematic experience of its scripted shows and films. Apple's ads business is real, just not CTV heavy even. If Apple TV Plus stays ad-free for scripted content, Apple is not anti-ads. The company already generates several $billion annually from advertising-related activity across services such as App Store search ads and Apple News, along with search distribution partnerships. That said, scaling a full-blown connected TV ad stack with deep programmatic infrastructure and massive inventory is a fundamentally different undertaking. It's not Apple's immediate priority unless strategy, scale, or pricing pressures change. What could make Apple change course? There are a few realistic triggers that could nudge Apple toward an ad-supported tier. The first is scale. If Apple dramatically widens its content slate through more originals and selective licensing, an ad tier can accelerate return on investment without forcing steep price hikes. The second is price pressure. As subscription fatigue rises, a lower-cost ad-light plan can become an on-ramp for price-sensitive households while keeping the flagship plan pristine. The third is bundle economics. Apple could introduce a discounted Apple One option with limited sponsorships or pre-rolls, protecting the premium ad-free tiers while widening the funnel. Finally, competitive optics matter. If every major rival leans into ad-supported growth and consumer demand tilts that way, Apple may respond, but expect any move to be measured, privacy-forward, and consistent with its brand. If ads ever arrive, expect a controlled rollout. Should Apple step into broader TV advertising, it would likely start narrow and on Apple's terms. Think live events and special releases first, light sponsorships before full mid-roll breaks, and strict controls around frequency, context, and privacy. Netflix jump-started its ad business by partnering with Microsoft's Xandr before building more in-house capability. Apple could take a similar staged approach if speed to market becomes important. But the company typically prefers building tight, integrated solutions over time. No mega acquisition shortcut. Some have speculated that Apple could buy its way into a giant library by acquiring a traditional media company. Leadership has consistently downplayed that idea. Rather than chasing a mega merger, Apple appears focused on curated growth, smart sports rights, and targeted licensing. That is consistent with Apple's culture and reinforces the premium positioning of Apple TV+. What this means for viewers, the near-term takeaway is straightforward. Scripted series and films on Apple TV+ are likely to remain ad-free, preserving the premium vibe that sets the service apart. Live sports will carry ads, because that's how sports work, and Apple will continue to refine that experience. Pricing should remain competitive, especially within the Apple One bundle, reducing the temptation to subsidize content with ad breaks and prestige shows. What this means for advertisers, Apple TV Plus is unlikely to become the next massive CTV inventory source overnight. The best opportunities today sit in live sports, Apple News placements, and on-device ad products where Apple can offer premium environments and privacy-sensitive targeting. If Apple expands advertising around TV Plus, expect limited, high-impact formats, rigorous brand safety, and premium pricing rather than a race to maximize impressions. 3 plausible paths over the next 2 years. The most likely path is steady as she goes. Apple keeps scripted content ad-free, grows its slate methodically, adds selective licenses where it helps discovery, and doubles down on sports experiences that can carry tasteful advertising. A second path is sports-first expansion. Apple enhances creative ad products around live games and tentpole events, with stronger measurement and privacy-forward audience signals that appeal to brand marketers. A third path is a bundled compromise. Apple introduces a discounted Apple One plan with light sponsorships or pre-rolls across selected content, while keeping flagship Apple TV Plus untouched by mid-rolls and preserving the premium experience for core subscribers. Wrap up and call to action. Apple isn't snoozing on streaming. It's simply running a different race. Netflix needed an ad tier to accelerate growth and diversify revenue. Apple, with a diversified business and a premium brand to protect, can afford to be patient. Don't expect a Netflix-style pivot to ads on Apple TV Plus anytime soon beyond live sports. Do expect thoughtful monetization where it naturally fits, strong pricing within the Apple ecosystem, and a continued emphasis on quality over quantity. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more deep dives into streaming strategy, media economics, and the future of CTV. And tell me in the comments, would you switch to a cheaper Apple TV Plus plan with light pre-rolls? Or do you prefer to pay a bit more to keep prestige shows completely ad-free? Apple will continue to refine that experience. Pricing should remain competitive, especially within the Apple One bundle, reducing the temptation to subsidize content with ad breaks in prestige shows. Netflix jump-started its ad business by partnering with Microsoft's Xandr before building more in-house capability. Apple could take a similar staged approach if speed to market becomes important. But the company typically prefers building tight, integrated solutions over time.